race fans, once again to MaxSpeedTV. We have yet another great race for you. Just finished up DSRL, and here we are tonight, starting the first of 19, I believe, races with this one. And we have another series by the same group. And tonight is the Northwest Truck Series, presented by Sanctuary Studios. Again, looks like we have about 30 drivers in here for this truck series. It is going to be a great one. Before we get to all of the good stuff going on, we just want to thank all of the sponsors here that are helping us make this possible, so you can tune in. That is Performance PC, SimSpeedShop.com, HR Trucks, W7 Racing, and Virtual2Reality.tv. All of those great partners on board here that make it all possible for us to do what we do here on MaxSpeedTV. But in the booth with me tonight for the first time, this is going to be a trend here on Mondays and Thursday nights on this late night race, is KR Stolfus. So first off, KR, welcome to the booth for the first time for this series.
Oh man, it's definitely exciting getting to broadcast another truck race. It's been a while since I've been on paper. I'm going to do my best. I'm going to throw some dirt on that.
Yeah, and this type of racing, watching the cars, there is some dirt on here. It's very down to that grass, but you never know. You may see some dirt flying here, even at Daytona. So this could be very interesting. With 30 drivers in here, running about 42nd laps here. So that could be very interesting. We're going to see a lot of pack racing, something you don't see on the dirt side of things.
The pack racing is definitely going to play a part here tonight. If you want to get into the draft, do it if you can. When the green flag comes out, the driver's going to be forming up. Be watching for that high side to slowly build momentum until eventually the leader of that high side drops down in front of the low line.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be interesting. I'm curious. Rudy just hang off tonight. He is getting ready so he can tear the computer apart and put the parts in. In the morning, again, he was scheduled to be here, but we definitely wish him the best. That he gets a good night's sleep and work on that. But he's broadcast this series for neither one of us have. So I'm curious how soon these guys are going to try to risk it and go 3 wide here. Are they going to do it at all? That's kind of going to be up in the air since we've never broadcast this one before. To see, are they going to play it safe and go 2 wide as we're seeing some cars spinning there, or are they going to go 3 wide right out of the gate?
You know, it's definitely a preseason feel to it. Going to have some people trying things they've never tried before, and it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, definitely it's going to be very interesting. Like I said, we get it 30 drivers and may still have some more connects. We've got about 15 minutes here in practice still. We've already seen them here in practice going 2 wide, so I haven't seen any 3 wide, but you were out there earlier on this track. We know obviously you don't have a setup here as you don't run it very often, but from a driver standpoint, that someone who hasn't been on this track, what is this track like compared to, say, dirt where you're used to running?
There's a lot of similarities in that you want to keep your car as straight as you can, turn the wheel as little as possible, and hold your foot to the floor. It's really smooth out there. This is a nicely repaved Daytona surface. And I'll tell you, as far as dirt to this, you're doing a 46-second lap time versus a 13-second lap time. So you got lots of time to plan, set up a pass, make all kinds of decisions, maybe order a lunch, eat it, decide if you're going to go into the turn yet, decide not to, hold for another 5 seconds, then turn. You know, all kinds of good stuff. Where you're on dirt, things are happening fast. Cars are moving quickly. The change of speed between cars sometimes can be an extremely different, like 30 miles an hour different. You'll have one car pulling the slide job on you, scrubbing speed to do it, and you got to know that and check up for it. Here, everyone's going to be within a few miles of each other, within a few inches of each other, lap after lap, so it's going to be really hard to do.
Yeah, definitely. As we just switched over to our TND Rustic Decor onboard camera here, seeing a few cars spinning. We had a huge group there for just a little bit, as we'll see as we got a few more gonna be spinning around here, but we'll get back to a group. It's gonna be I don't know, I have yet to actually broadcast this big of a group myself, so I'm gonna be very curious to see what kind of pit strategy plays in here. Tires, fuel. It's only 40 laps, but again, this is a huge track. I mean, we're talking over 2 miles compared to the dirt side we're used to, 0.5 miles or less, 3/8 miles. So tires may play a factor. So when we have a caution, if we have a caution, will they pit for tires or fuel? That's all the kind of questions we're going to see answered later on tonight. As right now, we don't know any of that. So again, 40 laps is all this race is. It's not a points race. It's just strictly for to kind of get the rust off, get the wheels greased up a little bit, and get ready for next week when we come right back here and run 80 laps. So that one will be a full-length race for this series. I believe it's 150 miles, if I'm not mistaken. So that's what all of this is gearing up for. So it'll be interesting to see how tires play a factor and how fuel plays a factor into tonight's race.
You know, I really don't expect tires to be a big factor with as smooth as this track is. But for 40 laps, if the yellow comes out around lap 20, and this is just my observation, generally, probably everyone's going to come down pit road. About halfway through the race here, probably about a full fuel run, one fuel load here each 40 laps. Maybe, might be wrong, I'm not sure. It's been a while since I've been in this car.
Yeah, definitely we'll be keeping all that. Still trying to adjust our sound here, so we'll see how all that plays out. Hopefully everyone can hear us good. These cars are a little louder than dirt, so we are having to adjust for that here. But we may have to keep adjusting on that, so definitely let us know if you can hear us in chat. Again, right now, these guys are still running in groups. We have about 11 and a half minutes here in practice. So any favorites you see here tonight that stand out that you gonna pick for a win here? Maybe we got a lot of fast drivers in here.
There's a lot of fast drivers, but you know, it's so hard to pick when you come to a big draft track like this, because you don't know who got a great run at what point in time during their practice lap. But I'll tell you, the drivers that you do want to look for are the ones that are consistently holding a line and that are doing a great job at either pushing or letting someone push them. There is an art to it, and we'll start to learn which drivers are good at what.
Yeah, definitely. I've already said it earlier. I'm going to be voting for that car right there. The 23 of David Applegate, strictly on the basis that he is running the Intel paint job, and obviously I am a big Intel fan. We all know my troubles with the AMD. Had to end up sending that back, just couldn't handle what we did here at MaxSpeedTV, so that went back to Amazon, and we went back to the Intel i9. So definitely a bit of a fanboy for Intel, you might say. So that's my pick for the win tonight. Hopefully he can do it. He is 9th fastest right now. So it's going to be interesting to see if he can get up there and get the win.
He's looking 9th, like you said. 47 or 46.645 is his best lap. You know, like I was saying, he's only 0.619 off the fastest lap. So, you know, you got to decide where was he in that draft session.
Yeah, definitely. And that's going to be hard to tell. Again, they've had a 2-hour practice here. So as far as practice goes, they could have very well been in a huge pack there that we were unaware of before we got in here. So yeah, that very well could play a factor in here drafting. And you never know, we may have the big one come up, and that really could play a factor.
The big one is something to always be worried about here at Daytona. You can definitely wipe out a lot of cars in a matter of moments.
Yeah, definitely. And we've talked to these drivers, and we were talking to Jeff. the owner of all this stab now, they have had big ones before. These guys race very competitively, very close. Nobody doing anything intentional, but it does happen. So we'll be looking for that. Again, they do have one fast repair, so if it happens early in the race, you can get in there, get your fast repair done, and get back out here. So we're going to be looking to see who uses their fast repair early in this race and who saves it for a late caution.
The fast repair will pose a little bit of strategic value as well, in that you might get a little bit of a ding in the bump draft and not know you have that ding and come down pit road, and that ding will get fixed. That will count as your fast repair. So people need to make sure that it's checked off if they don't want to have it. Somebody almost always forgets, and then they go for it and it's not there.
Yeah, and being that I've raced on asphalt, I have seen that over and over again. You go in there and you get that fast repair done, and you don't even realize it sometimes. You just think, man, there was some fast repairs. I didn't have many. And you find out later on you did indeed have a lot of repairs, and you accidentally forgot to uncheck it. And I've also been on the other end of that, as well as I'm sure a lot of these drivers have, is you mean to check it and you don't get it checked in time, and then you're stuck on pit road for 8 minutes of the race, and you go several laps down, and it just ends any chance you have of winning the race that night.
It has ruined as many races, that's for sure.
But that hopefully will not happen to anybody here. Again, we have a lot of great drivers here. It looks like we have more connecting, so we're up to 32 drivers here, as Christopher Shearburn and Christopher White connecting. So 2 Christophers connecting. We have had a lot of similar names. We did find out earlier we have Doug Hunt, Adam Hunt, and I forgot who the other Hunt was here. We'll search on Jason Hunt. That is father and 2 sons. So we'll definitely be looking to see those guys working together here tonight.
And a lot of hunts in the pack. They said that their theme motto is "Be careful, we'll hunt you down."
That is definitely something you want to be looking for. They very well could hunt you down, because pack racing, that is what Daytona is. It's pack racing, especially with these trucks. And if you can get a group of 3, you can really easily run somebody down here.
A group of 3 cars for sure. It's really hard to get them all working together, but what you can expect to see is the first car just holding on to it, the middle car a little worried, and the third car just hammered down. I got this.
Yeah, definitely. And we've already talked to a couple of these, or I have earlier before this race, and we did when we were talking to them, you will see some trail braking out here. Obviously the guy out front's not going to be doing it, but you can expect second, third, fourth, as you get further into these rows, you will see some trail braking, holding that brake just a little bit, because you do want to be right up on their bumper so you can push them, but you don't want to be into their bumper, because if you do that, you will end up blowing an engine here. If you get up to the 270, 280 on that oil pressure or water pressure, you're gonna blow up. And if you blow up in a pack race like this, it could spell disaster for a huge chunk of this field.
When a car in front of you blows up, everyone around it scatters. And when you are in a pack, possibly even 3 wide here, very likely to see that 3 wide. When cars start scattering, when you're already running close and the cars are scattering, it just amplifies, it ramps up, everything becomes way more intense, and almost everybody doesn't make it through.
Yeah, it's going to be scary to say the least as you're watching people get down there. That's another thing, is the 15 Christopher Shearburn, hopefully we get that right. A lot of new drivers here for all of us into this league, and for us on the broadcast booth as well. But that apron, it is so hard. You think on dirt side, getting into the outside wall, it kind of is like a magnet. Well, down here, that apron on the asphalt side of things is just as bad. if you get down there at full speed, especially in the turns, the backstretch isn't too terribly bad, but like if you in turns 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, even really in the tri-oval, if you get too far down there, it will kind of suck you down, and when it does, it's most likely going to shoot you back up the track. It's almost like that. It kind of chews you up and spits you back out, and it could possibly get you sideways. And we'll see. We've seen this happen in other races before. Somebody gets down there too far, somebody tries to stick their nose in there, and when it shoots them back up, they hook them there and they spin them around, and that's what causes, a 5 to 10 car pileup.
For sure, like we're saying, when you're in the pack and that one guy just clips the apron, shoots the car up, everybody's gonna scatter again. Like I said, like with a blown engine, cars going everywhere. One guy in the back not paying attention, going la-di-da-di-da, he's gonna end up just never lifting and plow right into somebody. And oh man, then the fire is gonna start. Yeah,
definitely. Hey, you don't want to be back there, and we'll be looking for that if there is a big one. Who's going to be that one lucky person? Because there seems to always be that one person that is just extremely lucky in these races, that squeezes through all the wrecks and manages to somehow get through here and get a good finish off of sheer luck of avoiding the big one. So we'll be looking for that person here tonight, see who it is. But again, 32 drivers. I believe last season they said they were running an average of about 15 or 20. So they've already doubled that 15 car count, as we have over 32 drivers here.
It's a full field for sure with 32 cars out on the track. And the thing is how many are going to stick around? Because, it's a long race here. 40 laps is going to be short in our estimation, but it's still a lot of laps, especially if you get damaged early.
Yeah, definitely. Looks like we're watching, I believe that's the 5. We'll look for his name here. Daniel Porovich. Again, hopefully we do get that right. Looks like he's having some connection issues probably. He was blinking pretty bad there here during practices. We have about a minute left. So we'll definitely want to keep an eye on him, see if he may have some connection issues here in this race.
A blinker up front is definitely going to cause some issues, as it causes that whole line to slow down. It does affect the draft when your connection causes you to blink.
Yeah, definitely. Not to mention, being on the racing side of things, it scares the living crap out of you. When somebody blinks out and you come in and they blink back in, and sometimes there's that chance you're inside their back bumper. And that is not where you want to be if someone blinks back in.
For sure, it is scary when that guy's blinking and disappears, and you have no idea where he's at, and when he's going to reappear, where he's going to reappear. And I'll tell you, I was just in a dirt race, and I had thought a guy had blinked out, but unfortunately, no. He was just on my right side and the sprint car on the high side, and I was down low, and to me, he disappeared, so I just kept running my line, and then next thing I know, he reappeared in my cockpit.
Yeah, that does seem to happen, as it looks like the checkered flag is coming out here on practice. So next up is qualifying, so we'll see where all these guys stack up. I might lose my voice there a little bit. We'll see where everybody stacks up again. 32 drivers here as qualifying is officially underway now.
It is. We got each driver going to do 2 laps, and it'll be, I believe, single car qualifying, so we'll try and bring them to you as they are out there doing it.
And it looks like we'll switch over to Daniel Applegate here, as he's actually going to pull it to a stop. So we'll switch over to Ryan Maines in the number 17, as we'll put our driver bar up for you to see. But again, it's going to take them a lap or so to get going, get everything ready to go. So we're going to have to wait just a minute to put some times in. All right, so again, we're giving them just a lap or so here. Everybody has to get around this huge 2.5 mile track, and you'll see them getting up to speed first. We do have several drivers out on the track right now. Again, it looks like we have Daniel Porovich, again, hopefully that is pronouncing right, Ryan Maines, Trenton Barrington, David Applegate, Thomas Green, Scott Hutchinson, Sean Freeberg out on the track as well. So several drivers out there. So we're going to see what kind of times they can put in. But again, right now we're just kind of waiting on them to officially put in the times so we can get those to you as soon as possible. Alright, times should be coming in now. And apparently we're losing a few frames there. So I'm not sure what is going on there, but it looks like it is stabling back out now. So again, good there. But the number 5, Daniel Porovich, going to be running a 51.399. As it looks like now Ryan Maines is going to put in a faster time of a 51.112. So he is currently sitting in second now, as Trenton Barrington is going to take to the top of the charts. So far, he is going to be your pole sitter in the race with a 50.503. So a good run for him. So looking back through the fields here, who do you see? Any people you're looking for back there that are starting their laps, KR?
So far, not a whole lot of cars are out on track according to my timing sheet.
Yeah, we still have a lot of drivers that need to come out, but looks like Sean Freeberg in second right now with a 50.894. But still, well, never mind. Trenton's going to drop to second, as Ryan Maines is going to go back to first with a 50.187. Corey Walters jumped to a third with a 50.648.
I can't see qualifying.
Oh, that's right. You are in there as a driver here tonight, so you are unable to see those. But a lot of drivers putting in times. Right now, not much different. If we look, Ryan Maines has a .101 separation between him and Trenton Barrington for the polls. So that'll be interesting to see if anybody can top them, as we have our top 10 up on qualifying with about 6 minutes left here. So
Trenton does go back to the top there.
Yes, he does, just with a 50.187. So he is your fastest driver here. That will put him on pole, but doesn't mean it's going to stick. I mean, look, we have a lot of drivers here throughout this field that have not actually taken times yet. As we look in 10th place right now, Daniel Porovich has dropped to 10th place now. Right above him, now in 12th, as people are still trading spots, Christopher Sherburne is in 12th place right now. David Applegate in 11th. So Brad Cornell just took the 10th place with a 50.927, as he's actually going to drop, as Mark Walls hits a 49.902. That's the fastest time here in qualifying so far, and the only 49-second lap so far.
Mark did it on his second lap. His first lap was a 50.798, and he found almost a second in his second lap. So that was a huge jump for him.
Yeah, it was, and getting right behind him, as it looks like he is finishing his lap. He slowed down on the backstretch. Is John Ottenbacher with a 50.096. So nobody else has hit a 49-second lap so far. So that's going to be very interesting to see. But again, this is qualifying. They're out by themselves. Once the actual race gets started, can anybody else get into those 49s? We saw them in practice. They were running 46-second laps. So these are lone times. I expect them to get much lower.
For sure, they will be doing 46, 47-second lap times. And, you know, it's all about getting that great run to have that really good lap time. once everyone gets in a pack, you're not going to be looking for that spectacular run to maybe bump your numbers. So it's going to be interesting when that green flag comes out. But I am definitely impressed with Mark Waltz's lap. And just as I say that, Jeff Don't Stab Now in a 49.911. Second place, so 2 cars in the 49 seconds.
Yeah, so only 2, but again, like you're saying, this is qualifying. They're by themselves. Those times earlier were in practice were all drafting for the most part. So these times they're fast, but they are by no means the fastest we will see here tonight, as we have about 3.5 minutes left. It looks like for the most part everybody has put out a time here, as again we still have looks like Dana Rogers, Mona Leeham, hopefully we get that right. Carl Burke has not put out times, so a few drivers that have not put in the times yet, but everyone that has come out does have times in. So it's gonna, like I said, it'll be interesting. We're wondering if these last 3 maybe want to start at the back. Maybe it's their first race for this series, and they just don't want to get up there in the pack of things before they can kind of get a feel for this and how it's gonna play out. So we'll just kind of have to keep an eye on them and see where they start, if they start at all.
That KR Stolfus guy, geez, I don't even know why they let him out on the track.
Yeah, we were wondering that. But speaking of on the track, Joshua Cushman just ran the fastest time, 49.828. So now our third guy to run a 49-second lap, as on his last lap he takes pole just like that out of the last bit. So he is your new pole sitter, with 28 drivers have taken time.
28 drivers having time. Like you said, we're still waiting to see what Dana Rogers, Mona Leeham, and Carl Burke, if they're going to roll out. They got the final 2 minutes left, inside of 2 minutes. So if they're going to do it, they need to start rolling out now.
Yeah, definitely. As actually we have about 1:46 left here, so we are going to step away. Before we get to the HRE Motorsports starting grid, we are going to step away for just a minute for your national anthem, so we will be right back after that.
We take you down onto the track for our opening ceremonies.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise. Please remove your hats.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back here as everybody is starting to get on to the grid. So that means it is that time once again to go through your HRE Motorsports starting grid. So KR, if you want to roll through that for us.
I sure do. Joshua Cushman, your pole sitter, your quick time with a 49.828. Getting it done here early. He's going to be your pole sitter. Starting outside him, Mark Waltz. Second row, Jeff Stabnow and John Ottenbacher. Third row, Andy Voigt, Trenton Barrington. Fourth row, Ryan Maines and Thomas Green. Fifth row, Corey Walters and Jason Hunt. Sixth row, Scott Hutchison and Sean Freeberg. Seventh row, Jason Swank. Steve Selestad and Jason Swank. Eighth row is Michael Peterson and Gerald Heffley. Ninth row, Joseph Bissett and Doug Hunt. Ray Foreigner and Justin Bieber will make up row 10. Row 11 is David Heath and Adam Hunt. Row 12, man, I had to take my shoes off to get to that one. Christopher Sherburne and Matt Henry. What number are we on? 13. Christopher White and David Applegate, your driver, starting 26th. Brad Cornell and Daniel Porovich will be 14th row?
Yep, 14th.
I'm losing count here. And those were everyone that took qualifying times.
Yeah, so this should be good as we see them rolling off a pit road now. So we will switch to our main cam here. Again, a little bit giving you a view of the entire field there from the blimp. That was the Goodyear blimp. Special thanks to that Goodyear blimp has been here for a long time, and it does very well up as being the eye in the sky. But don't need it now. It's time to get racing as we are one lap away from getting the green flag.
The butterflies, it's time to get rid of them. It's time to focus on what you're doing. However, I never could get rid of the butterflies till the green flag was actually up in the air. I mean, it would intensify even up until I got on the throttle, and then it all goes away and you just focus on what you're doing.
Yeah, it's going to be, like I said, this is pack racing. These are not like mile and a halves or even like dirt track racing. They're not just going to hammer the gas and just be flying out of the gate. They're going to hit that gas, but these trucks are going to take a minute to get going here as we see the 95 trying to clear any debris off his tires. That is Joshua Cushman. I'm sorry, it is Joshua Cushman. So they're going to try to get some tires cleaned, scuff them a little bit, as it looks like the pace car is just about ready to get this race started.
Sure is. They're coming down here. Pace car's getting ready to pull off. Cushman going to take control of the field. Green is in the air.
All right, so it's going to be good here. Again, 27 drivers took to the track. We had 32 in practice, a few drivers not making the race, but already we're starting to see these guys start form little groups here. As you'll see, you have the 29 and the 089. Those are the two Walls Beard Co. drivers. Again, this is the Northwest Truck Series presented by Sanctuary Studios that you're watching right now. Definitely a big shout out to Sanctuary Studios for sponsoring this series. And tonight's race is the Walls Beard Co. Clash at Daytona. This is their 4th season they've been doing this. So a huge shout out to them for being here as long as they have.
For sure, and we appreciate each and every sponsor we get. Speaking of, if you'd like to participate in sponsoring this broadcast channel of MaxSpeedTV, reach out to Rudy or Charles. We'd love to get in contact with you. We'd also love to do your broadcast, just like we got going on tonight.
Yeah, and it looks like we were wondering if they were going to go try to make it 3 wide, if they were going to keep it 2 wide. And these front 4 rows have stayed double, but if you look behind them here, you go to about, let's say 11th place or so. They've kind of single filed out, so you got 2 distinct little groups going on right here. As you got the 77 of Thomas Green on the outside right now. He is really getting freight trained on that outside right now, as he has got to get to the bottom where he is going to lose a ton of spots.
The outside line definitely has to work together. It can be the fastest line, as it looks like. Did Cushman just blink out?
Oh, not sure. Take a look and see. He is still up front.
All right.
So he's still hanging on to the lead right now, and he's got the 24 of Mark Walls pushing him to the lead right now, as he barely, and I mean literally probably by the bug on the grill of that car, or that truck ahead right now, is they're going to get a little bit of a push. And he's got the 10 of well, he had the 10 back there of Andy Vogt, but he is falling back just a little bit. And so they're just trading spots right now, as it looks like we do have one driver that did blink out. Brad Cornell, Cornell is in 27th now, went to pit road for 6.1 seconds, and he is out of the race, so not sure what happened to him.
Yeah, I got scoring 20 cars on the track right now.
It looks like we got about 26 on the track right now.
My timing sheet is all kinds of screwy then.
I might try closing it and reopening it. Maybe it'll fix itself. But right now, yeah, Cushman is still out front, followed by now Jeff Stabnow in second place, as he is really pushing the 95 to the front. Mark Walls now in second. So really, right now, second and third are trading spots. That is Walls and Stabnow. Those two just trading it back and forth when the 95 isn't out in the lead. The question is, will the 95 of Joshua Cushman stay with the 24, or will he go to the top line? We've seen it happen before. You push to the front and you go where most cars are, and try to work there. So we'll see how long these people work with each other before they say it's my turn to lead this race.
For sure, definitely the 29 and the 089 have got to work together on the outside, along with that third car on that top lane there of the 02. That's Trenton Barrington. His yellow is out, and I'm not sure what for.
Looks like David Applegate is on pit road, so let's go back and take a look and see what happened to him. His first caution of the race on lap 6, so we got quite a few laps in here, as we'll see what happened to Applegate. Again, that was my driver I was rooting for. Oh, looks like him and looks like the 75 that might have been of Jason Swank got together there, putting them both into the outside wall. And this is a self-sweeping track for anyone that's not familiar with Daytona, which most people probably are, as it's both those gonna go to pit road now. Anything that goes up on this track must come down, and it indeed did. You hit that outside wall and it sweeps everything into the grass.
So what you're saying is, when you go to dodge a wreck, you plan on them coming back down towards you?
Yes, if you see, that's the key to this track. If you see a wreck and you're coming up on it and they're up high on the track, especially in the turns, you might as well stay up high, because unless they hit the gas or the brake and hold that car there, which chances are they are not going to be able to do that when that car is broke and rolling free, they are going to roll to the bottom. So that's why even in real life you will hear spotters tell these guys, keep it on the high side, because everything will eventually make its way to the bottom.
So we just started lap 8. We got a 40 lap event. First caution out. What are your thoughts so far?
A 40 lap race, we'll see. Looks like we're actually on lap 7. Not sure. That's what mine's showing anyway.
Yeah.
But 6 laps in the books on lap 7. I really don't expect anyone to pit, but I could be wrong. Again, I don't see, like you said, we were talking about earlier, I don't see tires being a big issue here. Especially with only 40 laps, it's not a very long race. But the real question of the night is, pit strategy could still come to play. You know, some people are going to want those fresh tires, and if you're going to take tires that you're taking 2 or you're taking 4, that could get you up the front. Track position is going to be key here tonight with this few laps.
You don't really ever want to give up track position, but you also don't want to be the only one left out, either pitting or out on the track. So you know, strategy is always a part of this big track here at Daytona, especially in the pack racing. But no, you know, if you do pit, the first people who pit for sure will probably be people in the back half of this field.
Yeah, definitely. And if we look here, we look back to Ray Fournier back in 21st, 22nd, 23rd, 24th, all the way down to 25th. They've already pitted. They are on the lead lap, but they have already pitted. So that is going to be very interesting. They have 1 lap on their tires, so it's going to be interesting to see how many of these guys do make pit stops and how many of them don't, because like I said, those guys have 1 pit stop, so they have fresh tires where everyone else has 8 laps on their tires.
Yeah, I don't see tires 8 laps here at Daytona really burning up your tires. But, you know, as you get into maybe lap 20, lap 25, if the caution were to come out after a long green run like that, it'd probably be seeing a lot more people pit.
Yeah, definitely. And this in iRacing, we do have dynamic track. So this track and these tires heat up and they cool down. So they do pick up virtual debris off this track. So like you said, I don't see 8 laps being a major factor here. But definitely, like you said, you get into, you know, 25, 30 laps with 10 to go. It's really all going to be on the leader right now. This, who pits and who doesn't pit, is all on Joshua Cushman right now. If he pits, you really still don't know if anybody else is going to. But if they do, everyone will be on fresh tires. If they don't, then he is going to lose a lot of position. As it looks like you can see, he is not going to come down. Nobody is. We didn't expect him to, with only 8 laps completed when they crossed the line. So the lights should go out as they do. So next time by, we'll get that green flag one more time.
Another restart, another chance to maybe get a great run on the outside. Now's the best time to pass the cars. If you can get a good jump on this start, you can gain a lot of ground. And especially in the back of the pack where people tend to fall asleep, when that green light comes on, you better be ready to go and get that truck to the outside lane and just find a hole.
Yeah, no. The only downside to used tires like this is spinning them. I don't see that happening with 8 laps on them, but it is a possibility, especially if somebody misses a shift and then gets it into the right gear and possibly spins those tires a little bit. Anything is possible. Restarts are the worst time for spinning tires or missing a shift trying to get going, or even starting in the wrong gear. So we'll be looking for all that. And this is the worst time for it to happen for anyone because you're all bunched up together now.
It definitely don't want to spin the tires if you're on the front row and get sideways. The field is charging at you, and you will just become smushed. No, whatever. I don't know. Snow? I don't even know what I'm talking about. Snow.
Yeah, they might become flat like snow. It would definitely. You don't want to flat spot those tires and become a kind of pancake the tires. You definitely might get pancaked into the outside wall. If you do, you're definitely going to lose your back bumper to say the least. It looks like we're ready. Pace car is diving off.
Cushman on the pedal there, getting a little help from the second car in the second row. Inside car in the second row. Wow, I'm great talking tonight.
I'm not sure who that was, if it was the 29 or if it of Mark Walls, or if it was Cushman, as he's now back in second. One of them didn't look like they got going, and that's what we feared, is possibly spinning the tires a little bit or just missing starting in the wrong gear, or missing a gear, but it didn't look like they got started as well as they'd like. As now they are going to lose a few spots, and that's going to put Jeff Stabnow to the lead, as he will lead his first lap.
And you notice once he cleared that inside line, he dove right down to the bottom. But the tin machine of Andy Vogt getting a run on the outside here down the straightaway. So if he can get a good shove from the 0-2 of Trenton Barrington, the outside now has got four cars on the inside. I'd be watching for the guys on the outside to dive down to the inside once they're clear.
Oh, when you got the 0-2 going around, the 29's involved. There are a ton of cars getting involved in that. That was a nasty wreck. The 0-2 looked like he may have got hooked there. And we have at least 8, 9, possibly 12 cars or trucks involved in this. So let's go back and take a look and see what happened. All of this started with the 0-2 here. It looked like he may have possibly got hooked.
Trenton Barrington on the outside with the 17 and the 10 sandwiching him, and just nowhere to go.
Yeah, just got a little out of shape there. Maybe scooted up just a little bit on the track, and just got a little tap from the back bumper. Nothing major. Just didn't hit him square like he wanted to, and that caused a huge pileup. That is going to be a lot of cars going to pit road. We are going to go back up to live here. We'll check in with your leaders here. Actually, for the second year, we're going to get David Applegate up in the booth with us. He is out of this race, so we'll get him here. So, David, you got a copy?
Hey there.
First off, I'm a little sad. I was rooting for you. Hopefully, we were going to get that Intel truck in the victory lane here tonight. But it doesn't look like it's going to happen here tonight. But you missed the big one at least. That wreck just now, that took out at least 7 or 8 cars. So being a driver, being in this series, have you ever been involved in that big one here in this series?
Yes. Last time we were here at Daytona, the mid-season race at Daytona, there was a wreck that started at about second place that claimed pretty much everybody to a person. And I was the very last one to get involved. I was driving down the entrance to pit road to avoid it all, and I got clipped at the last second. So yes, big ones are really a very big thing to watch out for, because it doesn't matter where you are not safe on this track.
Yeah, and like I said, that one took out, I saw at least 8 cars that had damage, and I'm sure there was more than that. But while we have you here in the booth for a minute, take us through what happened, what got you, we watched it a little bit, but what exactly happened that got you out of this race so early?
Well, 2 things happened. There's a couple of guys I was racing with in the very back, got bottled up behind someone, kind of unstable racing. And I just tried to get through on the inside, and I got in below the double yellow line, which should have been the first red flag, but that wasn't enough. So by the time I made it into turn 3, I had 2 wheels down on the seam, and there was nothing I could do at that point. I really should have backed out much earlier. I just kind of went stupid into turn 1. And then the reason why I'm not racing anymore is because when I hit the tow button, I forgot to check my fast repair. So now it is executing 35 minutes of required repairs while I sit here doing nothing.
And we talked about that in pre-race.
We did. It happens. It's
Yes.
happened to the best of us. You accidentally forget to check the button, or check it when you don't mean to. Either way, it can come back and bite you in the hindquarters. And it looks like, unfortunately, for the Intel number 23, David Applegate, it did happen to you. So that is not what we wanted to see out here. But hey, at least we did get you in the booth.
Yeah, hopefully we'll be able to do something more like this in the future. I'm fast. I like to go fast, but Daytona is one of those tracks where you just can't control your own destiny. You just gotta drive and hope you survive.
Yeah, it definitely is. It looks like everyone's kind of sorting it out now. Jeff Stabnow is your leader here. He has led 5 laps. Joshua Cushman in second right now. He's led 8 laps. So these guys kind of mixing it up here. So this could be a good battle between these two as to who is going to be the race winner here, as we're nearing the halfway point here in about 6 laps. So now that we've had a few cautions here, so we'll take a look here at that. Actually, that is our second caution for 7 laps. We still have 27 laps to go. We've only had 1 lead change. Still any favorites you got an eye on there for the win here, KR? Or is it still kind of up in the air to you?
Well, I gotta say, I always question when a league owner is out in the track, and Jeff Stabnow, league owner admin, leading this race, seems awful suspicious to me.
Yeah, definitely. In most cases, I could agree. But I definitely think he's earning it right now. So, especially with Daytona, he didn't get there by any luck. He worked his way up there for sure. And I honestly, he's a good driver. I've been watching him, but I'm not counting out Joshua Cushman or even Andy Vogt for that matter. Both those guys are going to give him a run for his money here tonight.
I do like to kid about the league admin owner, but yes, Jeff Stabnow was one of our 49-second bracket qualifiers. Only 3 drivers got into the 49 seconds. He was one of them, so he can get it done. He's got a fast vehicle. He's just got to, keep his nose clean. He controls the start of this race, which is what you want to do, but you don't want to get so far ahead that, the guy behind you gets a great run and is able to pull out and make a pass on you. And so there's an art to being the pole sitter here at Daytona.
Yeah, you're definitely right. If you want to have a good, nice lead normally, but you don't want to do that too much here, because if you get too far ahead, they will mount a rally, and they will come, and they will take your crown away, and you will not be the race leader for much longer if you do not have any help. So this is a really weird track, Daytona, Talladega. You kind of have frenemies out there. Everyone's your friend until the end, and then they turn into the enemy, and you want to beat them, but you got to work with them in order to get to the front.
You sure do. And Cushman, this is going to be the first start he's had to do not on pole position. He's going to be in second place for this, front row outside. So his cues now are going to have to be picked up off the 24 of Stabnow instead of go when he wants to.
Yeah, and looking at the tires again, we don't think they're going to play too big of an issue. But if you look your top 5 drivers, 15 laps on the tires. Everyone else 2 laps. So we'll see if that does play a factor, which again, I do not think it will, as the green flag is out once again. And very quickly, yeah, Stabnow gets a huge lead. Cushman, maybe he kind of slacked off just a little bit so that he could tuck in behind Stabnow, as he is going to do that as everyone's kind of going single file this restart.
Everyone worked really quick to get single file. Cushman pulled it down almost as soon as he hit the start-finish line, but due to the draft, it's closed right back up before he gets in even to the backstretch.
Yeah, definitely. Looking back here to the 61, there's Gerald Heffley. He had help from the 53 of Carl Burt. But Carl Burt said, "See you later," tucked in behind the 26 and left the 21 out to drive. And it looks like the 21 is going to, or the 61, sorry, is going to tuck in the spot right behind the 53 and hang in there. So good job for him. But looking actually, we'll take a look, see. You can take a look. Carl Burke is right there. He's trying to get by. It looks like he's going to take a look on the outside. He may just be trying to get some clean air, because that's the problem. If you're back here in the pack like this, even back as close up to the front as you are back in 5th, 6th, and 7th, you're not getting that clean air, and these trucks do not like not having clean air.
They can become a handful in a hurry. And, the other thing is, not everybody would have used their fast repair necessarily from that big pileup that we had. So you could have a car in front of you with a little bit of nose damage, because I've seen a few that weren't too torn up.
Yeah, definitely. Just saw a few of them that got just kind of spun out. They didn't hit too much. As we go back here just a little bit, where is it? There it is. We got a huge group back here, back for about 10th through 15th or so. As there for a second, the 96 tried to make it 3 wide. That is Joseph Bissett. Hopefully we get that right. But he tried to make it 3 wide back from 13th place. He thought better of it. And back here is the 02 in this group as well. But he is 2 laps down, Trenton Barrington. So he's holding his own. He did use his fast repair, but unfortunately is 2 laps down. But he's up here in the group of these guys for 10th through about 16th.
Sorry, I was in the middle of a coughing fit. For those of you who don't know, I haven't been in the best of health here the last few days, so I apologize for that.
Yeah, and taking a look back here to the front, you can just tell the huge distinct difference right now between the front guys, first through about, I'd say, 9th or so. The top 8 drivers right there as you watch them on your screen. They're all single file right now. They have single filed out, and that's the way they want to stay. They're going to pull away from the rest of this field if they can do that. As you look back again to Joseph Bissett back in 13th, that group hasn't single filed out. They're not working together right now. They're wanting to race here as we are now at the halfway point here on the next lap as the yellow flag's going to come out.
The yellow flag is out. I'm not sure for who. I didn't happen to see it.
Looks like the
14 of Michael Peterson, yep.
Let's go back and take a look. So right as we hit the halfway point, the caution flag comes out. So 20 laps completed here. This could get very interesting now. We got a lot of laps on the tires. And looks like they were just drafting him in the 29. Or just drafting there, and maybe he hooked him. We'll see here in just a second. There it was. Just hooked him just a little bit. Nothing major. He just kind of moved up a lane just a little bit, and coming back down got hooked. So no fault of either one of those, really. It's just a product of drafting. It happens so many times. We watch it all the time. You have to be right square on the bumper. If you get a little bit off of that bumper, and they come back down, or you go up, and you just clip them ever so slightly at doing 160 plus miles an hour, it's so hard not to hook someone and spin them around.
When you're going that fast, every little bit of movement on the steering wheel is exaggerated. The cars are very twitchy, and it just the smallest of bump in the wrong spot, and you're done.
Yeah, definitely. As it looks like the lights are still on, so I don't think they're gonna pit. So we'll see here. If you want to pull down, if we can find him, I know he's in here somewhere. If you want to pull Jeff Stab down, we'll see if we can't get a interview with him.
No problem. Let me get him. I know right where he's at. Jeff Stabnow, you got a copy?
I got you.
Mr. Charles Wooten has a few questions for you.
Well, first off, we see you here. You're bypassing pit road. You're going to go straight to the start-finish line and see if you can't collect that $200 for pass and go. Unfortunately, there is no real $200 on the line, so we just like to poke at Monopoly there. But you're in the front. You're leading the race. You've led 13 laps now. You've led the most laps. So do you have any plans of pitting, or is this going to be a straight no pit unless you need to repair damage kind of race?
I am showing that I'm about 3 laps to the good on the fuel here, or 3 gallons to the good, so we're going to run straight to the end unless we need to pit.
Well, that is what we planned. We didn't expect to see anybody here pitting for tires unless they had damage. But looking here, only the top 5 drivers have not paid a pit stop, so we'll get your aspect of it from a driver's standpoint. Again, it's only 40 laps. We're half done with it. Even with just 22 laps, can you really even tell a whole lot of a difference in those 22 lap old tires, or are they still kind of fresh?
Right now they're kind of fresh, but we did some funky things here a little bit with the tires to try to get a little more speed out of this. So worried about that right front here probably when we get down to about the last 5 or 10 laps. Hoping I don't have to make a sudden move in a corner.
That could play into it. Again, we've hopefully nobody gets in there, spins the tires, or misses a shift or anything on the start. We have been looking for that because it can happen. But hopefully we'll see you again here in the booth after this race, either the win or at least the top 3, and we'll get to talk to you again.
All right, 10-4, guys. Thanks a lot.
All right. Again, that was Jeff Stabnow, your race leader, as we are riding on board with him at the moment. So I do expect to see him place pretty good here. He's doing good right now, has led the most laps. As we'll take a look here at our cautions. That is our 3rd caution of the night. 11 laps, still 18 laps to go. We've only had 1 lead change, and the leaders have only been the front 2 right now, Jeff Stabnow and Joshua Cushman. So if it plays out the way it does, probably one of those guys will be the winner here tonight at the end of this race.
Cushman and Stabnow have been our lap leaders, but don't count out the 10 of Andy Vogt yet. He's right in the mix, and he's going to be starting on the inside 2nd row. So he's going to give Stabnow a good little push there, and, it's going to start mixing it up.
Yeah, definitely. You can't count anybody out, especially on a super speedway like this. Anything could happen to anybody. You may lead all the way up to the last lap and get spun out or spin out on your own. And like he said, those tires, the way they are, that right front could play a factor.
The right front, he said he did some crazy things with the tires. You change your camber, you change your temperatures, and you increase the wear, and, you don't know what it's going to do in a race setting until you actually get into that race. So he's got a legitimate concern being worried about it.
Yeah, definitely. And like I said, that's probably the only tire factor. Like he said, he is 3 gallons to the good on fuel, and if we have 1 more caution, that will just help solidify that, and he'll be even gooder, more better, whatever you want to call it, on the fuel. So that will definitely help him on that end. So this could be strictly a front right race, front right tire race anyway. We'll see. That is really going to be a tire you need if you need to make a sudden move to dodge a car or get into the corner and dive it down low. If you can't get that grip you need, that is when it's going to play a problem here.
It could be an issue, or it could be a non-issue, as he may not even make it that far. This is going to be an interesting dynamic, because as drivers get down towards the end, what Stabnow has may not be the same settings on his right front that, say, Andy Vogt has. And Andy could end up wiping everyone out because he expects the car to turn and nothing happens. So, just because you're up front and you're good to go with fuel doesn't mean you're going to make it to the end.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like you said, it is Daytona. It is anything's possible, and it's kind of known. You should expect the unexpected. We could go green all the way from here on out. We could have another caution and take out half the field. We really don't know. It is a very tricky track. You got the tricky triangle at Pocono, but this one, it's just as tricky. It's not so much the track, but just the uncertainty of what could and possibly might happen here.
When you have, what do we got now, 20-some cars out on the track, we got 17 cars on the lead lap. When you all are driving inches off of each other at 185 miles an hour, yeah. Come on in, open the door, Miss Calamity. Green flag back in the air. Stabnow gets a great start. Andy Voigt going to follow him. And Cushman left hung out to dry there, going to fall back into 3rd.
Yeah, and we were talking about it earlier. A huge lead is nice normally, but you see he's got about a car, almost 3-4 car lengths there, but already down to half a truck length in this case. as they're already starting to reel him in. So a huge lead doesn't mean anything here, as a caution's going to come out once again. It looks like it's going to involve Jason Swank in the 75 truck. So I'm not sure exactly what happened to him. We'll go back and take a look at it, though. Taking a look, all seemed well here for him. We'll see. It looks like maybe another hook here. So we'll take a look. Indeed, it looks like maybe the 69 and him get together. They do. They collide together on the in the turn there, and that's going to do a lot of damage to the 75. It looks like the 69 may get the lesser of the two damage-wise. That is Sean Freeberg in the 69, as he is not going to get quite as much damage out of that incident.
Definitely was an odd incident, as there was all kinds of room down below, but both of them decided to run right into each other on the high side.
Yeah, that's very interesting. They had plenty of room. It makes you wonder if possibly the 75, again, that was Jason Swank, maybe he thought the 69 of Freeberg was behind him still, and he was going to try to go onto the high side and get up on that wall and see if he couldn't get some speed off of that side draft off the wall, and just didn't realize he was there. That's almost what it seems like what happened.
You know, everyone would like to, armchair drive these things. It's so much easier for us to say, "Oh, fools, look at all the room you had down low." But when you're in the car, when you're in the heat of the moment, it's really kind of just a whole lot of small decisions that you make inside of a second that leads to putting you into trouble.
Yeah, definitely. And what people have to remember, for the ones out there watching, if you've never been inside a real race car, or even on here on iRacing, is unless you have, the 3 monitors set up or a VR headset, your view is very limited. You can't see all around you like you can in a real race car. You can't move your head as much. You can move your head all day long here on iRacing, but if you don't have the 3 monitors and the VR headset set up, your view is very limited. So you rely a lot on your spotter, and here in iRacing, unfortunately, the spotter is not always the best. He may tell you all clear up high when you are clear, but by the time you actually go to make that move, you're not clear anymore, and that guy's right there. And we have seen that happen time and time again, and that very well could have been what happened here too.
For sure, it definitely is a possibility. I can tell you, VR, this latest edition of it that's come out, has done an amazing thing for the field of view, and really putting you in the car. In fact, I was a firm believer in triple monitors until I got to try VR, and I'm already planning on how I can get my hands on a set.
Yeah, definitely. I've seen a lot of people use them. I haven't got to see a whole lot of people using them here on the asphalt side of things, but I have watched people on the dirt side of things, and they are definitely a huge advantage on here because of the sheer fact that you can see what's around you. You can move your head and you can see the person beside you, and especially help you on restarts. You can look over and see where he is if you're starting on the outside, and you don't have to guess as, okay, am I up by him? Am I going to get back flagged? You can actually just kind of look over and be a lot closer.
And the freedom of moving your head to check something, instead of, some people have to set up a button on the keyboard or their steering wheel that iRacing allows the animation of a head move, but just moving your head, and it puts you in such a more natural position that when I did VR, I was going into the corners and I was pulling my head, expecting my helmet and the G-forces. So next thing I know, my left ear is touching my shoulder, as I'm going through the corner, and I'm looking up and out like I would have just going through a sprint car, going through the corner in a sprint car at Eldora.
Yeah, it is a world of improvement, and I'm not sure if we're having an extra long caution here, as it seems like we have been under caution here for an extra lap. As we take a look, that's only the 4th caution here for 15 laps. We still have 13 laps to go, but the lights are still on, as it looks like they are getting ready here. Looks like we may go a double file, so we'll look at the pace car, and we'll see if the lights do go out this time. If that does, it will indicate 1 lap to go before we get that green flag one more time.
Now Andy Voigt is going to be on the outside of the front row this time. He did a great job at getting us restart in the previous one, pulling in front of Cushman, but now he's got to do the defending here because he's caught out of position.
Yeah, definitely. So this could be interesting as you look at now Joshua Cushman back in 4th. So he's got his work cut out for him to try to get up there. And we'll see. He has been notoriously already kind of not really checking up, but he has been doing what he has to do to get to that inside line. So we'll see if he does that again here on this restart.
He's doing a great job at getting to the inside as soon as there's a hole just big enough for his truck to fit.
Yeah, definitely. And it looks like they're just about getting ready. So before they do, we do want to remind everyone real fast, this is the Northwest Truck Series presented by Sanctuary Studios. This is their 4th season here. And tonight's race is the Walls Beard Co. Clash at Daytona. And it has proven to be a very exciting race thus far. And I do expect to see some more great racing, as it looks like we are just about ready to get that green flag one more time.
We got 18 cars on the lead lap still. And I'll tell you, the 18th car is David Heath. We're at Daytona. He might be the last car on the lead lap, but he still has a shot at winning this thing. That's the 29 car. He went flying, or sorry, the 42 car. He's got a chance still because we're at Daytona.
Definitely, as the green flag is back out. Jeff Stabnell's got a good start, but like you were saying, as long as you're on the lead lap, you're not out of this race. Anything is possible here at Daytona, as we'll see right now. They are going to put on a good battle on the outside, as it looks like the 95 get a little bit of a shot to the back bumper from the 53, and that's Joshua Cushman and Carl Berg. As those two kind of bump there, and it gets them both out of shape, but they kind of recover from it. So we'll see. Right now, it is Stabnell out front, but here comes Corey Walters. We definitely don't want to count him out. He's kind of bided his time. We haven't said his name a whole lot. He was back in 4th and 5th position for a long time, but like you said, can't count anyone out. Now he's in 2nd, and he's possibly going to make a run for the lead here in these closing laps, as now we have 10 laps to go.
He's going to have to get a run on the outside or give a shove and upset Stabnow, because Stabnow is doing a great job at holding it on the yellow line through the corners.
Yeah, definitely. He is doing a very good job, and that's what he needs to do. He needs to hang to the bottom. Don't let them by. If they want to get by you, they're going to have to team up, and they're going to have to make a move on the outside. That's exactly what you want to do here at Daytona. And it doesn't look like right now they're going to do that. Again, you'll see these guys run a single file here for probably 8 more laps or so. And you will see somebody, whether it's the 28 of Corey Walters, Joshua Cushman in the 95, or Andy Vogt in the 10. As you see them now going 2 wide, they're going to team up here, but somebody will make a great move, and they possibly will get by him. We'll see. If you're going to do it, you have to do it with enough laps to get by him, but not too many that they have a chance to get back by you.
The front 4 leaders are pulling away, but everyone behind them is definitely scattering all over the track, trying to find a spot to run, jockeying for position. Everyone's starting to feel the pressure now as we are within 10 laps to go.
Yeah, and what'll be interesting to see, you've got, starting with the 53 Carl Berg, Gerald Heffley, Christopher White, Ray Fournier, Jason Hunt, Thomas Green. These guys all back here in this next group. Right now it looks like they're more of a flying V formation, but if they can get together a single file and group up, they could catch this lead pack. You still have 8 laps of a 2.5 mile track. There is a chance they can get up there and make a run for the lead. But first off, they've got to get together and work as one pack, as one here, and kind of get that draft going and catch them. If they can, this could get very interesting for the last few laps of this race.
It's getting interesting here in the mid-pack. I'm looking about 10th spot. These cars are double file and wiggling all over the place. I wouldn't be surprised if we have another yellow here before too long. Yeah,
they are definitely doing what is referred to as the snake effect. They are just back and forth all the way through here. It kind of resembles a snake, the way it looks like it's kind of sliding back and forth on the track, and that's exactly what they're doing. And that could lead to a caution as we have 7 laps to go. If it does, now it would be, oh, and there it is, you called it. There goes the 53 upside down and the 28 getting involved.
The 28 goes up and over as well. A lot of damage going to happen to that car.
Let's go back and take a look and see what happened. Well, you did call it, though, right there in that little group. They did catch him because you saw the 28 was up in second. He fell back a little bit. He got left out to dry. That's what started part of this. They didn't do directly anything to it, but him being back there to be involved in this, as he got up on the high side, got hung out to dry, and now you'll see as you're watching it, there goes the 53, just like he broke loose into the outside wall and may have got hooked. We just didn't see it from the angle. But he is going to go sliding and then rolling. Oh, didn't roll it actually. Never mind. But he is going to slide upside down on his roof. And again, fortunately, Corey Walters getting involved in that as well. And that engine is smoking, so that is not what he wanted to see.
No, and as it stands right now, that puts Jeff Stabnow back up front. Or I shouldn't say back up front, but Cushman in second, challenging for the lead against Jeff Stabnow.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, go ahead.
That's what I wanted to say.
Yeah, this could be interesting. I said we didn't want to count out to 28, but now, unfortunately, he is back. He's still on the lead lap, as it looks like. We'll take a look back here. Looks like he did use his fast repair, so if you want to pull him in here, we'll get a quick interview with him real fast to see if he did indeed use that fast repair and if he's going to try to make a run forward here again.
I don't know where he was at.
We got him. There he is. Corey, you got a copy. Uh-oh. Corey Walters, you got a copy. That looks like, unfortunately, we may not get a word in with him, but looks like he did use that fast repair, so he is going to come back here. So we're riding on the board with him. He's trying to catch up to the field here, but that truck looks awfully pretty now, so it looks like he probably did use his fast repair. And we said earlier, if you don't have to, you don't want to use it. He obviously was up front. He didn't have to use it early in the race. Now we have 5 laps to go. He's got a fresh truck. Unfortunately, he's going to be back in 17th, so he has got his work cut out for him now.
His work is cut out for him, and really, you got to keep your nose clean here from here on out. Drivers are really going to start doing a lot less of giving and a lot more taking. You know, we've seen some give and take, and we've seen some incidental hooking. Now we might see some intentional hooking.
Yeah, definitely. These guys seem to be pretty good friends with each other, but at the end of the day, this is for a win. There's no points on the line. So with no points on the line, you're still not going to race dirty because these guys don't do that. But it's for a win. There's no points, so you're not going to have a bad points night if you end up wrecking out. So, you know, you aren't going to wreck anyone intentionally, but you may push that envelope just a little bit more. than you normally would.
And there's no money on the line, but you know what? A situation like this, I'd probably spin my brother out to win.
I honestly, I might do it myself too. I mean, a win's a win. As long as you don't do anything illegal to do it, I might do it myself.
Yeah, you know, like we said, there's nothing on the line tonight. It's a good practice night, practice race. Drivers getting to meet each other as the season kicks off officially next week. So, you know, it gets the dust knocked off, gets everyone in a good groove, and kind of gets you some mental notes, and you're ready to tackle the racing for real when it comes time for it.
Yeah, definitely. And it kind of gives us a kind of a standard here in the booth. That's kind of who we want to be looking for. You can't really judge it too much off of this race, because I'm sure we got people like David here, Applegate, in the booth with us, as well as a few other drivers that are out of this race that will be contenders for the championship that unfortunately got tangled up in some stuff and are out of this race. But it kind of gives you an idea of who's up front right now, especially during qualifying, who's got fast setups. But come even really not next week, once we get into a mile and a half, then we'll really get an idea and a feel for who is going to be some of your top drivers.
Yeah,
For sure.
Charles, you were saying, Charles, that sort of the fastest guys are up at the front right now, but you don't know at this point who is going to be a contender for the championship. Last year's champion, John Ottenbacher, is back in 8th position, and the only other person in the top 7 that even won a race last season is Andy Vogt in 3rd.
Yeah, so exactly right there, like David was saying, you never know. With these super speedways, you pretty much throw everything you know out the window as far as who's fast, who's going to win. You just don't know here, as it looks like we are double foul, so we are going to have a 2-lap shootout to determine who gets the win here.
Is a bigger factor than here at Daytona, this 2.5 mile barely turn the wheel kind of situation. But you get into a 1.5 mile track, say like Charlotte, you have to lift a little bit going into the corner on fresh tires. When you get your tires worn out, you know, you got to start backing those corners up and allow the car to settle before you get into the throttle, and hope to carry a lot of speed on momentum down the straightaway.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
don't forget, we'll be racing short tracks as well, where you really need to use your brakes on the corners as well. After Daytona, we'll be at Lucas Oil Raceway Park in Indianapolis. That's a really short track as well.
Yeah, that one is going to be I'm looking forward to that track. Obviously, I am a fan of the short tracks with these trucks. Obviously, I wouldn't want to league with them myself. But it's going to be very interesting. This entire season, I am looking forward to watching these drivers do the short tracks, the long tracks, and seeing who excels at each one.
But all's on the line right here at the Clash of Daytona. We're just going to have 2 laps to go, so this is it for the marbles. This is it.
Yep. And it looks like they are getting it ready. There it is. Green flag is back out. Again, not the super fast start we're used to on dirt, as these are a super speedway, so it takes them a minute to get up to speed, as we are now 2 laps to go. The question is, who is going to come out on top? It could be anybody in the top 3 right now, or even really the top 10 for that matter. You never know. As right now, Jeff Stabnow is still out front, getting a lot of help from Andy Vogt in the 10. And now it's going to push Joshua Cushman back to 2nd and now back to 3rd. And they're just going to trade back and forth up front.
It's a 3-way fight for the lead. Stabnow currently has it. Meanwhile, back in the pack here, it's a rat's nest of cars all over. Some going 3 wide, maybe even thinking about 4 wide.
Yeah, they are 4 wide there for a split second. They're still 3 wide. These guys are not even sure that's back in about 10th with Mark Walls, Jason Hunt, Ryan Maines, Joseph Bissett, David Heath. All these guys just battling it out. With the white flag is out. So we'll see here as we got a caution not going to come out. White flag is out, but they're wrecking all in the back. So major wreck between a lot of cars. The 17 involved. And we're going to go back up to the front. That is not going to end this race because the white flag was out. So we'll see. Right now, it looks like it's either going to be the 24, the 10, or the 95. That is Stabnow, Vogt, or Cushman. Oh, and there goes the 95 and the 10 into each other. Big pile up behind them. 5 more cars involved, and that is going to give the win probably to the 24 of Jeff Stabnow right there. He is going to take it. So Jeff Stabnow will be your race winner. And looking back, it looks like Joshua Cushman is going to finish in 12th and Andy Vogt in 13th. After that, those two getting together on the very last lap, literally probably 200 feet away from the start-finish line.
It got crazy there at the end. Cars flying everywhere.
That definitely was an insane finish there at the end. Again, giving the win to Jeff Stabnow. He was already out front, probably would have hung on to the win anyway, but though it kind of assured his win with that happening, as we'll see if he's going to do any donuts or any form of celebration here. And don't go anywhere. We are going to step away for just one moment while we get our top 3 drivers here in the booth, and we'll be right back with your post-race show. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back here with your post-race show. Again, a fantastic race, especially at the end. A lot of cars, unfortunately, wrecking out there at the end, but still a great race, especially there for the finish. We do not have Ray in the 26 here with us, but we do have third place and first. So starting with third place, we have Jason Hunt. Again, 3 of you in here. We had 3 hunts. So we found out you are a father and 2 sons. So didn't think we saw y'all together too much of the race, but you finished third. So you did finish the highest of the group. So we don't know. We're going to kind of get used to it. Which one are you? Are you the father or one of the sons?
I'm one of the sons. I'm the oldest son, and then my younger brother Adam, and then Doug's the father.
All right. Well, so first off, congrats on third place. And how does it feel to kind of whoop up on your dad and brother there a little bit?
Really lucky, because usually they're in the restrictor plate world. They're the ones that show me the ropes. So this was actually my first restrictor plate start ever. So they kind of guided me through everything.
Well, they guided you well. They guided you to a third place finish. You obviously did really good. You were probably in the top 5 there, most of it. Obviously, with that last little wreck there between Cushman and Vogt, I got you into the top 3. So a solid finish for your first race. Unfortunately, it's not a points race, but hopefully, with any luck, you can duplicate this next week with the 80-lap race here at Daytona for points. For your first race ever, what was it like out there for you?
It was way different. I've never, I'm used to, the 1.5 miles and the shorter tracks. So to run pretty much wide open with everybody door to door the whole time, it's definitely a different feeling. But feel very fortunate to race with a good group of guys and have a good showing for the first time out.
That definitely was a terrific run for you. We don't want to keep anyone here too long. It is midnight our time, so it's probably 1 or 2 in some of y'all's time. But definitely any sponsors or shout-outs you want to give for that third-place finish here tonight.
Just a big thanks to my dad and brother. Like I said, we kind of work as a group, and they showed me the ropes here this evening to get me up to the top spot. And then, of course, Jeff and everybody that helps put the race on. You guys do a great job, and I'm really looking forward to the entire season with you guys.
All right. Well, again, congrats on that finish. Again, we do not have number 26, Ray Foreigner, here in the booth with us. We didn't see him here in TeamSpeak. But coming away with the win, pulled a dominant performance here tonight, led 32 of the 40 laps. The only person to lead other than him was Joshua Cushman. But again, a dominant performance. Jeff Stabnow, you came away with the win. How does it feel to be back in the seat again and to pull out a victory?
Oh, man, I'll tell you, it's great to be back in the seat again, and there's some darn good racers out here, so it's always just real great when you come away with a win. It's hard to win in this crew, so it feels fantastic, man.
Well, it definitely was a good race up there. We saw between you and Cushman up there running. We also saw the 10 getting in the mix, Andy Vogt. Until that last lap, literally 200 feet before the start-finish line, them two getting together, out front. And normally with a track like truck racing, the 1.5 miles or the short tracks, it's not necessarily about working with anybody. But here it is at Daytona and Talladega. Were you any scared at all those two were going to try to team up and get by you there on the closing last 2 laps?
Oh, I was definitely nervous. Josh and I had worked together pretty good, but and I kind of thought maybe he'd work with me a little bit there. But I mean, you never know. Everybody wants to win this race. They're coming. It's a free for all there on that last lap. Coming down the backstretch, I saw Andy Vogt. He was backing up off me a little bit, so I got a little nervous. I was dragging the brake on the backstretch of the last lap, trying not to let him get too far behind me. And when those two wrecked, I thought I was in no man's land out there. I was so far ahead of everybody. I was afraid they were just going to eat me up.
Yeah, you definitely you were out there. Them two wrecking definitely helped you out a lot. But I don't know if you saw it back in your rearview mirror. Before that all happened, there was actually another wreck right as you took the white flag. There was about a 4-car pileup behind that one as they were all over. They were snaking it all over behind y'all. And there was actually another wreck there that slowed that group down as they were trying to avoid them. So you had a nice cushion between those two little incidents there, both occurring after the white flag came out. It was on the last lap. So you came away with the win, but any sponsors, we know you have some, and shout out you want to give for that victory here tonight.
Oh, absolutely. First thing we got to do is sponsor the race sponsor here. A big shout out to Mark Walls and Walls Beard Co. They have been a sponsor with us since the inception of the series. They sponsored this race, so thanks a lot to them. We've got Highway Equipment Company back on board again to do some sponsoring. So their Highway brands, New Leader brands, they'll be doing a lot more here with us in the future. So big shout out to them. And then the series sponsor, man, Josh Cushman, his company, Sanctuary Studios. They took on the title series sponsor. So huge thank you to them. A lot of what we're doing this year is going to be because of those guys, those 3 sponsors right there. So definitely thanks to them.
Well, definitely congrats on the win here again. We are not done just yet. We want to go through all of the results and sponsors. So, KR, do you want to run through those results for us?
Well, I kind of left the room.
Oh, well, then in that case, I will go through them for us.
I am messing up so bad tonight. I am sorry.
Coming away with the win here tonight is Jeff Stabnow. Second place, again, hopefully we did get his name right, Ray Foreigner. Third place, Jason Hunt. Christopher White finishing in fourth, and rounding out the top 5 is Thomas Green. Sixth place will go to Gerald Heffley. Seventh place, David Heath, 8th place. Doug Hunt, 9th place. Steve Silstad, again, hopefully we get that right. Selstad, one of those. We will clarify that when we get the chance. 10th place, Mark Walls. 11th place goes to Matt Henry. 12th place, John Ottenbacher. 13th, Joshua Cushman, again in a late incident there with the 14th finisher, Andy Vogt. So unfortunate for those, they did get together and finishing in 14th and 13th and 14th. 15th is Adam Hunt. 16th goes to Ryan Maines. 17th, Corey Walters. 18th, Joseph Bissett. 19th, Daniel Purovich. And rounding out the top 20 is Christopher Sherburne. 21st goes to Trenton Barrington. 22nd, Jason Swank. 23rd, Michael Peterson. 24th, Carl Burke. 25th, Sean Freeberg. 25th, 26th goes to David Applegate. 27th, Brad Cornell. And after that, did not complete other than Justin Bieber did start. He finished 28th. But the few drivers not making the race that were in here, Dana Rogers, Mana, hopefully Lehman, hopefully we get that right, and Scott Hutchinson. So those guys did not make the race. So unfortunate for those that they did not make it. They were here, just did not qualify into the race at all. They didn't even attempt to qualify, but they were here, so a big shout out to those. For whatever reason, they were unable to make it. But as always, we want to thank all the sponsors. Obviously, on the racing side of things, obviously, Sanctuary Studios, big shout out to them for sponsoring this series. And, of course, the race sponsor themselves of this race, Walls Beard Company. So big shout out to all of those. And on the MaxSpeedTV side of things, we want to give a shout out to all of our sponsors, Performance PCs, Sim Speed Shop, HRE Motorsports, Elite 7 Racing, and Virtual2Reality.tv. A big shout out to all of those for being on board, whether it's the Racing League or here on MaxSpeedTV. We have a lot of great partners that do get on board for that. As always, have a safe night, and we will see you next Thursday night for the next race, 80 laps at Daytona.
Good night, y'all.